Hello, welcome. What you're about to see is not for the faint-hearted. What you're about to see is what I like to call the scary doors. Good luck. Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Underdog Eats, just on the reviews, and I watched the Twilight Zone Season 1, Episode 12. Yeah, this episode was it. Especially the second episode. Not second episode, the second story, I mean. Well, the first story the most, but the second story was also nice, So, let's just start with the first story. Well, I thought that we flew across some planets, but apparently it's just a hologram. And a guy walks up, he looks at it, and we see another guy sitting at the desk. We're in a lab somewhere. And the first guy asked the second guy if he wants to grab some lunch. So the second guy says, "What? I wasn't listening." Yeah, I thought so. They have a small talk, and the second guy says, Jesus. Oh, what is that? So the first one looks around, turns around, and in the hologram, we see a fetus. Yes, a fetus of a baby. It's just a human baby. And they walk up and they look at it. And he asks, "What is that? What is it doing in my, hologram display?" But we're gonna leave it at that, because if you want to know what's gonna be next, watch the episode yourself. Apparently, through the episode itself was 40 minutes, and the whole the first story was 40 minutes. The whole episode was 94, 49 or 48 minutes. So the majority of the episode was the first story, which I didn't mind actually, because it was kind of interesting. Apparently it was a woman, the fetus turned into a woman, over time. First it became a little girl, then became a woman, and then she aged every day 10 years, every day she's 10 years older. And apparently she died at 35, giving birth to a child who also, I think, died. And the first guy of the beginning, was her husband in their past life. In his past life, he was her husband. So it was, but we learned that bit at the end. But it was really something, And the second story was short, but really, really powerful. It powerful. It was good. It was definitely a good one, because he basically almost sold his soul for an equation, just to solve an equation. And that would
been the stupidest shit ever, you know. Why the fuck would you sell your soul in the first place? Come on. Very crazy. Just for a fucking equation, you know, to solve an equation. But yeah, when the apprentice or whatever he was showed up, he could ask him first 3 questions about, you know, his powers and all, and then he has a final question or a task. You know, he has to do a final that thing has to do a final question, answer a final question or do a task. And if he can't answer that question or do said task, his soul would be safe. And we kind of came up with the same task or question for said monster, only he did it obviously better than what I would have said, you know. Because the answer that he gave to him as the final, you know, as the 4th one, it was definitely smarter than what I would have said. Overall, this whole episode was just a very good episode. You know, I really enjoyed it, and this was maybe one of the best Twilight Zone episodes from 1985. From the 1985 version, you know, this was probably one of the best ones. So go watch the episode yourself, leave likes, recommend a good mysterious show down below in the comment section, subscribe to the channel, come join Discord, and see you guys tomorrow for Hundreds of Beavers and new Electric Cowboy song, and hopefully also the 13th episode of the Twilight Zone.